fans, Jeff Cook reporting from Musselman Stadium in Biglerville. The Biglerville Canners hosting the Littlestown Thunderbolts in the lid lifter for the 1995 high school football campaign. I'm hoping Joe Yeck will be along shortly to provide commentary. Coach Yeck is busy right at the moment with a girls' tennis match still underway just below us. The football weather has returned just in time for the campaign. Temperature at kickoff should be in the low 60s. Very comfortable evening for these young players. They've trained for several weeks, and now they get a chance to get this campaign underway. In the background, they're introducing the starting lineups, and there are a lot of names that don't jump right out of the program at you. Littlestown returns basically one starter, Ryan Krause. Biglerville has a few starters coming back. Richie Hernandez touted as an offensive rushing threat, not available for tonight's contest. So the lineup will have some new faces, a chance really for some of these players to establish themselves here in the local area as high school football players. So I can't give you much in the way of an idea of what to look for. We expect a hard-fought contest. These two teams, Biglerville, Littlestown, it's a natural. They're no longer in the same conference, but only about 20 miles away. It's an intense rivalry, and both teams want very badly to win this contest. Rich Sterner is the head coach here at Biglerville. He's in his second full season. I was impressed last year the way he molded his offensive and defensive schemes to fit his personnel. Littlestown has a brand new coach tonight, taking over for the legend George Shue. So who knows? Sit back, get ready for high school football here on Adams Community Television. We'll return with the opening kickoff in a moment.
The captain taking the middle of the field for Biglerville. The captain's number 66, Dave Fetters, number 32, John Crum.
John Crum and Dave Fetters, the captains for Biglerville.
Number 34, Ryan Crum. Number 56, Justin Streeting. And number 76, Cliff Geist.
Cliff Geist, Justin Strivik, Mark Nestor, and Ryan Krause, the captains. Biglerville has won the toss, and they will receive the opening kickoff and defend the goal to our right. Littlestown will boot it away in the white uniforms, defending the goal to our left. Hope springs eternal. The 1995 football season about to get underway. We'll return right after the anthem. Biglerville plays the alma mater, the Biglerville Marching Band. We might bring you some highlights of Littlestown's band at the half. Chad Yingling will kick for Littlestown from his own 40-yard line. A stirring rendition of the rather lengthy Biglerville High School alma mater. Paul Plank is aboard for camera work. Tonight has been a story in trying to overcome adversity. We're with a backup camera, a backup sound system, and hopefully you are not experiencing technical difficulties as you prepare to watch high school football on Adams Community Television. We are channel 25 on your Salmon's dial. Jeff Cook along with Paul Plank. Deep to receive for Biglerville are Chris May along with Andy Amsbacher. Excitement is in the air. The summer is over. And the gridiron campaign is underway. It's a short kick. Taken by Amsbacher, and he's stacked up at about the 27-yard line. That was Danny Walker, number 42, who had it land about 5 yards behind him. The coaches will say, young man, snag that orb. That oblong spheroid should not be laying on the carpet. Pick it up. 1st and 10, Canners. Let's set the offense. On the line, it's Alexis Vasquez, Mike Smith, Ben Amsbacher, Dave Fetters, and Chris Roberts. Rusty Spangler and Chris May are the ends. 2 tight ends set. Canners operate out of the eye. Jerry Walmer is the lone wide receiver. And that's Amsbacher. He got absolutely nothing. Might have lost a couple of yards. Crawling out of the pile there, Mike Rucker on the stop. Jason Miller in on the play as well. So it's 2nd and 13. The eye, out of the eye for Biglerville, it's John Crum and Andy Amsbacher. Inside handoff goes to Crum. He gets beyond the original line of scrimmage, picked up about 4.5. It'll be 3rd and long, call it 3rd and 8. High school football getting underway here on Labor Day weekend, and if you're just settling in to catch up with local high school football action on a Monday night, Labor Day, we hope you had a safe and enjoyable holiday weekend, and get ready to enjoy high school football every Monday at 7, the perfect prelude to Al, Frank, and Dan. Might be a delay game or a delay call there. Either that or some illegal motion. Oh, offsides by Littlestown. They made contact somewhere in the interior of that line. Big break for the Canners, so now they face a 3rd and 3. Crum back in there, replacing Andy Uphold. The wind is blowing at the backs of Littlestown right now. Misdirection. Amsbacher looked like he might spin for a 1st down, but then he was reeled back in by the defense. Justin Strevig in on the play, and it's 4th and a couple, and the Canners will have to punt it away. Little misdirection. Went to Amsbacher. He got a couple, but he needed 4, and the Canners, well, they're going to go for it. Right off the bat, forget the punt. Might try to draw him off. Jerry Mickley is the quarterback. Jerry Walmer splits to the far side, so Coach Sterner comes out gambling, and it does not pay off. Amsbacher got absolutely nowhere. The interior of the line, Mark Nestor led the charge along with Adam Hawk, and Littlestown takes over deep in Biglerville territory. Well, Coach Sterner obviously willing to take a gamble, and it did not pay off. His defense now faces a tough test. They go with a basic 4-3. We'll set that offense for you. Nothing doing. Nice stop in there by Crum as he stacked up Jerome Dillon for no gain. On offense for Littlestown, the line features Steve Niederer, Jason Miller, Mark Nestor, Justin Strevig, and Cliff Geist. Dan Arter is the receiver. Brandon Dillon, wearing number 19, is the quarterback. Split backs for Littlestown. The give is inside to Ryan Krause. He bulldozes his way for about 12 yards. Finally, hogtied and brought to the ground by Ben Amsbacher, but Krause with a big gain. 1st and 10 at the Canner 25. 8:10 to go in the first quarter. Proud underwriters of sports here on ACT, the pub and restaurant on the square in Gettysburg. Straight ahead, off tackle left, goes Jerome Dillon. Rusty Spangler made the tackle, but give Dillon about 4. It'll be 3rd and a long 5, 2nd and a long 5. Set that Biglerville defense for you. Well, we'll do it right after this play. Split receiver to the near side is Casey Dell. And the give is to Kraus. Burrows forward near 1st down yardage. Finally dragged down from behind by Dave Fetters. Wears the same number as Tony Fetters, now a member of Coach Sterner's staff, recent grad and standout. It's 3rd and 1. Defensive line features Chad Naylor, Dave Fetters, Ben Amsbacher, and Rusty Spangler and Chris May. Well, actually, May's a linebacker. That's Dillon, straight ahead, picked up the 1st down. Tackled by Chad Naylor. John Crum also in on the stop, 1st and 10. So the Bolts are driving. They started at the Biglerville 37 when the Canners went for it in the opening drive. 4th and a yard and a half. Didn't pick it up. And now the Thunderbolts on the march here on their first offensive possession of 1995. The give is to Dillon, finds a seam and penetrates all the way to the 10. Inside the 10 and about the 7. Amsbacher and May collaborate on the stop. Clock running, 6 minutes and change here in the opening quarter. Dan Arter splits to the near side. Bolts out of the power I. Inside handoff, and there's a fumble! Casey Dell lost the handle. Fortunately for him and the Bolts, he was able to fall on it. A near disaster. I mentioned the coaching change at Littlestown. Chris Hall, in his first season as head coach at Littlestown, looks like he's kept a lot of the offense intact. George Shue, a coaching legend, left the coaching ranks as a result of the labor dispute down in Littlestown, and now Chris Hall has some big shoes to fill. Out of the eye, second back through is Jerome Dillon. He's inside the 5 to about the 3. Looks very close to 1st and goal, and it is. 1st and goal from the 2. Harder checks back in with a play from the Littlestown sideline. 2 split ends in this set. Dell to the near side, Arter to the far. The give is to Kraus, off tackle left, and he's into the end zone. Ryan Kraus scores the first touchdown of the Chris Hull regime, and Littlestown takes a 6-0 lead here with 4:57 to play in the first quarter. I mentioned the pub and restaurant there on the square in Gettysburg. Victuals and libations galore, professional and personable. It's where good friends meet, open 7 days a week for your enjoyment. Proud underwriters of sports on Adams Community Television. Every Monday night, 7 to 9, local sports in your living room. Chad Yingling will try to tack on the point after out of the Brian Christ hold. The kick is down. The kick is up and good. 7-0 Bolts. And Littlestown had to rebuild their coaching staff. They even had to rebuild the band as budgetary crises around the county have resulted in some significant changes. Well, perhaps the tennis match is still going on. Perhaps Coach Yeck did not receive my request to join me here in the booth. It could be a Lindbergh, a solo effort, so you may be stuck with yours truly. Amsbacher and May deep to receive the kick from Yingling. The Littlestown sideline was pumped for this game. That student body had a lot of enthusiasm. This field is in excellent condition despite the drought. The grounds here at Musselman Stadium well manicured. And the kick is a short one, taken by Amsbacher at the 16. He's straight ahead, fumbled the ball, and May picked it up. So Amsbacher was out to the 30. A jarring tackle. It might have been Shane Mance. I'm not sure who put the hit on Amsbacher, but lucky for the Canners, May was trailing the play and pounced on the loose pigskin. 1st and 10 Canners from their own 26. The bomb, oh! Looked like the ref was going to reach for his hanky. That was Brandon Dillon on the coverage. Jerry Walmer. Nice throw by the quarterback, Jerry Mickley, so he shows here early on that he can air it out. Looked like some incidental contact, but Walmer unable to catch up to the football. May, the tight end, to the near side, Spangler to the far. Walmer is flanked to the far side, and now Mickley fumbles and falls on it. So Biglerville having a hard time hanging on to the football here in the early going. Now they face a 3rd and 10. And Mickley's hurt. This does not bode well for the Canners. It looked like maybe an ankle, and Jerry Mickley being attended to. I'm not sure who the backup is, but I guess we may get an opportunity to find out. So we'll take a pause with the injured player. The backup quarterback is Brian Redding, so he's in a tough situation. 3rd and 10. Drops right back to throw, has time, airs it out nicely to Spangler. Rusty Spangler all the way to the 40. 35-yard connection, Brian Redding to Rusty Spangler. So Brian Redding thrown into the breach. First play of the season when he has to fill in for the injured Jerry Mickley, and he threw a strike to Spangler. 1st and 10. Oh, he must have stepped out of bounds at the 45 when he turned the corner. So only a 30-yard gain, but still a huge pickup for the Canners, and they make their first foray into enemy territory. 1st and 10 at the 45. The pitch to the near side to Amsbacher. He lost about 4.5 yards. Casey Dell there on the coverage, smelled that play out and stopped Amsbacher in his tracks. Lots of local teams in action tonight around the county. Backyard brawl at the Lone at New Oxford. The Gettysburg Warriors travel to Spring Grove to meet the Rockets. And next Monday night, we will show you Biglerville Canners at the Gettysburg Warriors. Might throw in a few midget games this season. Basically, though, we'll be doing a football game every Friday night and bringing it to you on a 72-hour delay. Illegal shift by the Canners. Oh, it's a delay of game. Too much time to get the play off. So now it's 2nd and 20. And maybe this is what Reading needs, a little pressure on him. He has Walmer split, or rather flanked to the far side. Fake pitch, dive, went nowhere. John Crum on the carry. Cliff Geis in on the stop along with Kraus. So now 3rd and about 22. Danny Walker into the game, replacing Chris May. He is a tight end to the near side. Reading straight drop, has time. Oh, the ball's deflected and picked off by Dell, and he might go the distance. He's got one man to beat. There's going to be a clip called. It's going to bring it back. Dell went the distance, but a Canner looked like Josh Starry was clipped, and the flag came flying. So let's see what they do. Adam Hawk was out there trying to throw a block on the last man who had the angle on Dell and could not get in front of the defensive player. So it's a clip, and it negates the touchdown. Move the ball to the 23-yard line. Reading threw it into traffic. Looked like he tried to go to Spangler again, and he was well covered by 2 linebackers. One of them tipped it up in the air. Dell with the easy pick and almost was shepherded into the end zone. Only the clip averted disaster for the moment for the Canners. 1:56 to play here in the first quarter, and there's a timeout on the field. Good seats still available here at Musselman Stadium, and I guess a lot of the usual fans perhaps out of town for the weekend. Traditional time of travel, celebrating the end of summer. Paul Plank covering all the angles, providing the lens work here tonight. Nick Ostrowski hopes to join our regular team next week. This is Jeff Cook. It's a pleasure to bring you high school football here on Adams Community Television. Defensive coordinator for the Canners has his say, and we will get underway. 1st and 10. Mickley looked like a sprained ankle. Doubtful he would be able to return. I think they probably took him into the locker room. Big haul for Ryan Kraus. Finally, Walker wrestled him down at about the 4-yard line. So Kraus with a pickup of 19. Kraus is a large player, hard to bring down, and it's 1st and goal. Ball resting just inside the 5. Dell flanked to the near side. Brad Strasbaugh is one of the tight ends in the give. What happened? Fumble! Yeah, there was a turnover. And Danny Walker fell on the football. Dillon got the call and forgot the ball. So the Canners, a mere 99 yards away from pay dirt, as they get the ball back at their own 1. So Walker with a couple of big plays in that defensive series, saved a touchdown by dragging Ryan Krause to the earth and then fell on the loose football. Canners try to wedge it out. Uphold straight ahead for a couple. Still a 2nd and long. That's Crum for a little bit of working margin. He's out to about the 4. Mark Nestor in on the stop for the Bolts. Uphold returns with a play. Last few seconds of the quarter. 3rd and 6. Canners might be wise just to let the clock run out, because then the wind would be at their back for this 6-yard throw. They get the play off and hand it off. That's nearly a safety. No, apparently not. The quarter ends, and the Canners are going to have to punt it out of their own end zone. They got absolutely nowhere on that 3rd down carry, and they'll be kicking the ball away when we return. Canners will have to try to boot it away here for the Canners. Dell and Dillon deep for Littlestown. May, good job of getting the football away, and Krause, the up back, calls the fair catch at about the 34. So the first Littlestown touchdown drive was 37 yards. Now they take over at the Canner 34. Just underway here in the 2nd quarter. Split to the near side. Littlestown out of the eye. Play action. Little dump out in the flat to Jerome Dillon. He's got blockers in front. Walker and Walmer finally tackle him, but a big pickup for Jerome Dillon. 1st and 10, Thunderbolts. Littlestown now at the Canner 18. They go with a full house backfield. And the give is to Krause. Kept his feet going and got about maybe 5 or 6 yards. We'll see where they spot it. Call it 4. So it'll be 2nd and 6. Rusty Spangler in on the stop. 11:08 and counting here in the first half of the first game of 1995. Casey Dell flanked to the far side. Arter to the near. And that's Dillon finding outside running room and crashing into the end zone. Jerome Dillon able to turn the corner and used his speed to scamper 18 yards to pay dirt. And now there's an injured Canner on the field. Littlestown with a 13-0 lead. Point after attempt coming up. We'll pause. Naylor, the injured player, being taken off the field. And Yingling will attempt the point after. Brian Christ once again to hold.
Number 54, Yingling, interception point after.
Mark Nestor is the long snapper. Yingling punches it through, a straight-on kicker, reminiscent of the legendary Fred Cox. So it's Bolts 14, Canners nothing with 10:42 to go in the half. Coach Sterner trying to get these Canners refocused. Danger of a delay of game call. Littlestown, I guess, there was no timeout. They could have kicked the ball, kicked an onside kick, picked it up and scampered in the end zone. A little bit of discretion by the crew of Zebras, so they're giving the coaching staff a little bit of swath here in the opening night. Yingling boots it away. That's Walmer at about the 20. He's straight ahead to close to the 30. Adam Hawk, the first Bolt there defensively. 1st and 10 Canners at their own 29. Brian Redding, the backup quarterback. In case you just joined us, Jerry Mickley went down with a sprained ankle. Chad Naylor later carted off, so a couple of starters already gone here in the first half for the Canners. They only need one football, and, well, they get rid of the extra. 1st and 10 Canners. Walmer flanked to the near side. Redding to throw on 1st down. Oh, intercepted. He underthrew Chris May, the intended receiver, and Keith Harner was there for the pick. So once again, Littlestown starts a drive in Biglerville territory. 2 interceptions already. Redding had lots of time, so the Canner offensive line has been getting the job done. Redding underthrew that ball, a nice athletic interception by Harner. Arter split to the near side. Dell flanked to the far. The pitch goes to Dillon with a blocker out in front. Nice play on the far side by Chris May, but that was Cliff Geis providing the interference. And Dillon got about 9 yards. It's 2nd and 1. Alexis Vasquez checks into the lineup, replacing Andy Amspacher. 2nd and 1. Dell flank to the near side. Good play action situation. Coach Shu always liked it here. Now it's a straight drop. Good pressure. Good pressure by Vasquez. He was right in the helmet of Brandon Dillon, and Dillon had no chance to get. Or that's, yeah, Brandon Dillon's the quarterback, Jerome Dillon the back, but Brandon unable to get it away. And another Brandon Streeter had his collegiate debut on Saturday. I wish I could tell you how he did, but this being Friday night, no can do. Kraus straight up the middle, huge hole. Spin move, kept his feet, finally wrestled down by Chris May, but he is to the 17. Ryan Kraus has been the main weapon here for Littlestown. Jerome Dillon has also chipped in with a score. So it looks like the Bolts offense under new head coach Chris Hall has not lost much. They filled the ranks nicely. They know Coach Shu's offense and they're running it. Ooh! Little play action dink to Joel Patterson. And it was overthrown. I'm sure the coaches would have liked to have seen Patterson go after it with two hands, but I don't think it would have mattered. 2nd and 10. As always, we want to thank our fine sponsor, the Pub and Restaurant on the Square in Gettysburg. What's your favorite entree item? Go in and cast your ballot today. Patterson now split to the near side. Dillon goes in motion. The pitch is to Kraus. Turn to the corner with blockers. No. Pulled his way down to about the 15. John Crum there on the tackle. So that play had lots of potential, but Crum and the Canners closed the hole quickly.
Third down, about 6 yards to go for Littlestown on the Canner 15-yard line.
Uphold out of the contest. So let's see if the Bolts go to the airwaves. Might try a little pass out in the flat. They used that earlier. It's a good advantage. Now it looks like Dillon's going to throw downfield. He gets Jerome Dillon, who high steps it into the end zone. And there could be a penalty, a celebration call perhaps. Jerome Dillon took the pitch from Brandon Dillon, high stepped into the end zone, and I would think the touchdown would count. It's on the board, but there's a flag down and could be one of those new calls, celebration. Touchdown's good, but makes the extra point, in effect, a short field goal attempt. And I guess Coach Hull might have some words of wisdom for Jerome Dillon. Save those celebrations for after the game. This point could mean something at some time. And maybe they'll try the two-pointer. Jerome Dillon has scored twice. Oh, they'll try it. This is going to be a 35-yard extra point attempt. So the celebration call really makes this extra point try an adventure. Let's see what kind of range Yingling has from 35 yards. Got it up. Got it down. So Yingling rises to the challenge. And with 7:57 to play in the half, Littlestown leads Biglerville 21-0. Gettysburg Times correspondent Ed Riggs in attendance here tonight, covering the game. So Coach Hull now knows that Yingling is capable of a 35-yard field goal. That's not a bad range at the high school level. Brandon Dillon to Jerome Dillon for the touchdown. Point after by Chad Yingling is good, and it's 21-0. Jerome Dillon with a couple of scores. A lot of Littlestown faithful have made the 17-mile trek here to Biglerville tonight. And so far they like what they see. Four men deep for the Canners. It's going to be Walmer at about the 22. Not much blocking. Gang tackled at about the 34. Eric Zentz on the stop. Jason Miller there as well for Littlestown. 1st and 10. Canners from their own 34. 7:51 to play in the half. Adams Community Television, Channel 25 on your Salmons dial. And hopefully coming soon everywhere in Adams County on your GS Communications dial. Reading has that play stacked up in the backfield. Uphold went nowhere. It was Adam Hawk who met him first. And that's going to be a yard loss, 2nd and 11. Looked like a busted play, and Reading wants a timeout to talk about it. Timeout Biglerville with 7:21 to go in the half. The Canners trail the Bolts 21-0. We'll pause. We had a little problem there with the water boy. Spilled his load, and there was a brief delay as he gets his goods together and is escorted off the field. 2nd and 11 for the Canners. Again, Reading is hit in the backfield, but somehow manages to slip it to Uphold. He's tackled. Mark Nestor and Steve Niederer in on the stop for the Littlestown Thunderbolts. 3rd and about 4 from their own 40. Walmer flanked to the near side. And the give is to Amsbacher, and he got absolutely nowhere, lost about a yard. Good penetration by Adam Hawk, who's really been a force here in the first half. And now looks like the Canners will kick it away. I don't understand that call. 3rd and 4, and they tried to pick it up with misdirection to Amsbacher, and he lost the yard. Chris May to boot it away. Dell, Dillon, and Kraus back to receive for the Bolts. Short kick. Dillon has it bounce right to him. Good job to at least secure the ball. So this time, the Thunderbolts will have to march 64 yards with 5:55 to play as they start their drive at their own 36-yard line. That's Dell on the misdirection. Crum on top, Fetters down below. But Casey Dell got 5. Clock running, a little over 5 minutes to go. Harder, flank to the near side, Dell to the far. Off tackle left. Rusty Spangler tackled Jerome Dillon, but it's going to be 3rd and about 2 for the Bolts. Just over 4.5 minutes now to play in the half. Littlestown having their way here with the Canners tonight, 21-0. trying to cash in one more before the half. Brad Straw's ball split to the near side to give us to Kraus. Nice job on a tackle by Spangler, but it looks like Kraus picked up the first down. Forward progress took him out to about the 47, and he did pick it up. 1st and 10 Bolts. So they move the chains and restart the clock. Joel Patterson split to the near side. Jerome Dillon in the slot, and now he goes in motion to the far. Straight drop for Dillon. He's being pressured. Got it away to Kraus. Danny Walker missed the tackle. Now May missed. Kraus may go the distance. He's going to score. Ball knocked loose at the goal line, but he's in. 53 yards on the play. Brandon Dillon to Ryan Kraus. So Kraus and Jerome Dillon each with 2 scores here in the half. Couple of missed tackles. You can't grab Ryan Kraus's shoulder pads. You got to hit him low. And both Walker and Chris May missed. And Kraus able to break tackles and with a few nice moves went the distance. Yingling will try to go 4 for 4 in the point after department. Doink. It's good. 28-0 Littlestown with 3:44 to go. It's been all Bolts. And yes, you trivia experts, Justin Strevig is the brother of statistical wizard Jake Strevig. Jake worked with us for several years, providing statistical analysis, and now he is at college. So Justin getting his chance here in his senior year. One of the 4 captains for the Bolts, and the leaders have to be pleased with what they see. Canners have a tough road ahead. Next week they have to travel to Gettysburg and play the Warriors. In what will be apparently the last meeting between the Canners and the Warriors, only 7 miles apart, and they're not going to play each other. Chris May wrestled down by the kicker, Chad Yingling. So the Canners will have a first down at their own 33-yard line. Don't forget live programming, second edition every Thursday night at 7:30, produced by the Gettysburg Times. Also Act Naturally the last Wednesday of each month. Hope to start up again in September. And Act Vision the third Wednesday of every month. Little stunt by the safety. Oh, beautiful pass by Redding. Chris May with the catch. He's down the sideline and he's going to go the distance. Beautiful pass by Brian Redding to a wide open Chris May. He took it in stride and beat the defense 67 yards on the scoring play. A quick strike too. First down, touchdown, and the Canners are on the board. Chris May showing outstanding speed after the catch. Caught it about midfield and won the foot race into the end zone. Canners will go for 2. They need points. Crum and Amsbacher out of the eye. Redding hands it to Amsbacher, who fumbles. Nestor recovers, but Amsbacher's been having a tough outing tonight as he is being lambasted on virtually every carry. Crum comes off holding his arm, and it's 28-6 with 3:20 to go in the half. So the Canners have scored their first touchdown in 1995. 67 yards. Brian Redding to Chris May. 3:20 to go. Do they try the onside kick? I don't know. Coach Sterner's down there discussing strategy. He's getting some, yeah, wisely calls a timeout. Biglerville with a timeout. So we'll take a pause. Biglerville spots the ball at the right hash mark. Mike Smith will kick it away, so he might be attempting the onside kick. Littlestown coaches head out of the booth to rejoin their team. Well, he kicks it deep, and it's Dell at about the 15. They reverse it to Dillon, and he fumbled. Oh, my. Dillon able to fall on the ball. Josh Odell made the stop and forced the fumble, but luckily for Littlestown, Dillon able to pounce on it. 3:10 to play here in the half. Let's see if Littlestown goes for the quick strike. We've had scoring completions of over 60 yards on 2 consecutive offensive plays, one for Littlestown, and now the Canners come right back. 28-6, 3:10 to go in the half. Gettysburg Bullets get underway next Saturday at Hampton, Sydney, so wish all the Bullets good luck in their opening effort, in case they happen to be tuning in. Dillon did not get much. Fetters on the stop. Well, I guess it was Andy Uphold in there on the tackle. He got a couple, 2nd and 7. Clock running, 2:30 and change. Littlestown might be content to just stay on the ground here and run out the clock. Try to avoid the turnover. Redding's now in there defensively as well. So he had to step in and not only play offense, but play defense. Certainly, gentlemen. Joel Patterson, normally a tight end, lined up in the backfield and picked up the first down. Brian Redding made the stop. First and 10, Bolts, Arter, split to the near side, Dell flanked to the far. Split backs for Littlestown. Kraus not in there at the moment. Oh, big stop. Big play out there. Mike Smith smelled that play out. And the result, a 7-yard loss, 2nd and 17. And Littlestown may definitely just want to kill the clock. They lead by 22. And Coach Sterner might burn a TO depending on what happens on this next play. Might try to get the football back for one last chance at the end zone if they can force a punt. The handoff is to Patterson. He stood up by Walmer. Ben Amsbacher also in on the stop. Spangler and Chris Roberts as well. 3rd and 11. And no timeout either by Biglerville. I think they have one to burn, but they're going to see what happens. 50 seconds and counting now in the half. Littlestown may hand it off. Kraus is back in there now. He's the up back in the eye. Straight drop, and now they go to the screen. Nice catch by Dillon. He breaks tackles and picks up the first down out of bounds at his own 45 with 24 seconds to go. Nice catch and run after the catch by Jerome Dillon. So Littlestown may take a couple cracks at the end zone here with 24 seconds to go. Time for a couple of plays. They may even have a couple timeouts left. Brandon Dillon over center sends Jerome Dillon in motion, rolling to his right. He's got a man. Kraus bobbles and tucks it away. Knocked out of bounds on the far side by Uphold with help from Mike Smith. Another first down, but that play burned 9 seconds, only 15 to play here in the first half. Littlestown got the Canner 44-yard line. Carter split to the near side. Walmer single coverage on him. Here's Dillon on a drop, little shovel pass to Dillon, and Spangler, nice job pursuing the play, makes the tackle from behind. But Jerome Dillon picked up a couple. 2 seconds in the half, and Coach Hull with a TO. Wants to throw the ball downfield one time. They're going to reset the clock now to 7 seconds. So time certainly for one long heave into the end zone. That probably will be it. Michigan got off 4 plays in 24 seconds in their electrifying win against Virginia. So with 7 seconds, Littlestown may get a couple of shots. Well, and how they put it at 9 seconds. There it is. All right, 7 seconds in the half.
Those 7 seconds remaining in the first half. Second down, 4 yards to go for Littlestown.
It's a 2nd and 4 from the 37 of Biglerville.
Yeah, the band is selling micro cards. They're going to be available near the entrance for $5, 13 bucks on discount at local Littlestown and Check out the stand, buy your $5 card, and get the information on the 13 months.
Dillon goes in motion to the far side. The pitch is to Kraus. They're going to try the halfback option. Kraus lets it fly. Oh, Chris May was going to pick it off, and Walmer knocked it away. Flag down on the play. Biglerville will decline. I think it was on Littlestown, and the half should be in the books. Looked like some sort of offsides or procedure call against Littlestown. Biglerville will decline and go into the locker room trailing 28-6. And that is the call. We'll pause. We'll be back with a number by the Littlestown Marching Band and then the second half. Stay tuned. Littlestown High School marching band will be right back with the second half. Midfield to talk it over as we get ready for the second half. Biglerville in a huge hole, trails 28-6, but that scoring strike at the end of the half had to lift the collective spirits of the Canners and their faithful. So Littlestown will receive the opening kickoff of the second half. Paul Plank and I discussed some strategy for Coach Sterner. We remarked that in the first half, first Mickley and then Redding had excellent time to throw, so credit that interior line for the Canners. The pass blocking was excellent. The run blocking, not that effective, and the Canners were probably at about 0 yards rushing for the half. So you got two tight ends, both juniors, both lettered as ninth graders. Chris May, who had that 67-yard touchdown, and Rusty Spangler. Spangler is 6'3", 209. May is 6'4", 206. So you got a couple of targets like that. You got a line that can give you time, and you got a quarterback in Brian Redding with some pretty decent touch. It just seems that Coach Sterner has got to go to the airwaves, try to hook up with the tight ends on some short or medium range patterns, and like May did, maybe they can turn the play into a big gain after the catch. Smith to boot it away in the second half. Gets started with the reverse to Dillon. Finally knocked out of bounds at about the 27. Walmer over there on coverage, and Dillon is hobbled. And now he shakes it off. Jerome Dillon with 2 scores in the first half. Ryan Krause, 2 scores as well. I do now have an official program which lists heights and weights. Krause is 6'1", 205. So he is a large load, and he's been a big factor here for the Bolts. And Coach Hull would like to get him the ball a few times here in the second half. The misdirection goes to Dillon. He's finally dragged down. By Ben Amsbacher. Got about 6. It'll be 2nd and 4. I did see Coach Yeck at the half, and he told me he hoped to join me here. So perhaps you fans will get the treat of color provided by Joe Yeck. Here's Krause. Look out. He gets a block on the corner, and now it's a foot race. Walker has the angle, collared him, and he somehow still stayed on his feet and fell into the end zone. Ryan Krause with his 3rd score of the night. This one about 64 yards, and it's 34-6. So Krause with a hat trick. Got a nice block by Dell on the corner, Walmer, and that enabled Krause to turn the corner and go the distance. So a quick scoring drive for Littlestown. They take only 54 seconds to hit pay dirt. Yingling has been perfect. He'll try to go 5 for 5. And he does. Nubbed it right through, and it is 35-6. Some of the Canner faithful have begun to head for the exits. But it's a long season.
Number 54, Chad Jenkins, the kicker for Littlestown to see up the ball at number 40. Back for the Canners, number 23.
And Biglerville does play a tough schedule. They are a Mid-Penn 4 team. Although they are in the same conference with Bermudian and Scotland, you would think that playing the likes of Littlestown and Biglerville would more than prepare them for their competition. And as promised, a hush falls over the crowd as Coach Joe Yeck prepares to enter the booth. Oh, great one. Welcome, Joe Yeck, ladies and gentlemen.
Hi, Jeff. I don't know if I'm too happy to be here based on the score, but hopefully it's not too late to turn things around.
Andy Amspacher on the carrier, and the PA man had the same dilemma that I was faced with. Number 65 does not appear in the program, so we'll call him Player X. First and 10 for the Canners, and how'd the tennis match turn out?
Well, the final score I don't think was indicative of what the how the match went. We lost to Gettysburg 6-1. But in terms of competitiveness and the closeness of the matches, we gave our best effort, but came up a little short. There were a couple tiebreakers we lost, 1-3 setter, and it was their day today. But hopefully we'll play them one more time during the season and close the gap, and hopefully we'll win a couple of those that we lost.
Redding's pass intended for Spangler was knocked away by Dell, and it's 2nd and 10. I talked before your arrival about the need to throw to these tight ends, and they tried it 1st and 10. So I guess Coach Sterner thinking similarly. There a movement may jump prematurely, and it's going to be 2nd and 15. I remarked that I don't know if you saw much of the first half, Coach, but the pass protection was excellent for the Canners. They got a couple of huge targets, and Redding looks like he has nice touch. I said the ground game has not been very productive. You might as well go to the airwaves. So let's see what happens here in the second half for Biglerville.
Well, I don't think anybody expected this type of score at this point in the game. And certainly we have a very, you're talking about good pass protection. The line's fairly good size. They have some experience there at the ends. Naturally, Mickley going down with that injury certainly hurt them.
And apparently it was the penalty was on Littlestown. Oh my! I talked about the good protection, but it broke down that time. Mike Rucker came storming in on Brian Redding with a very powerful introduction. Redding sacked for a 7-yard loss, and now it's 3rd and 12.
I think Chad Naylor also went down with a knee injury. Is that correct? Has he returned?
I have not seen him. He had to be carted off. Mickley looked like he sprained an ankle. So Canner's already depleted. 3rd and 12. Redding looks to throw this time. He airs it out. Oh, and a 3rd interception. That's Dell with the pick, his 2nd of the game. 2nd outstanding run back. Tackled by Ben Amspacher, but Dell's had a big game in the secondary with 2 picks. Littlestown has a proud football tradition, and you didn't hear these players last year, most of them, but these good programs have a way of preparing these gentlemen. They just seem to step in without losing stride.
That's even surprising there. You know, they had the big changeover in the coaching down there with George Shue, who was there for about 24 years, gone, and with a new man coming in with a new system. This is certainly a big win, or on a way to a big win for Littlestown in this opener.
It would be Chris Hull's victorious debut. It certainly appears that will be the case, and a lot of changes in extracurricular activities at the high school level. Littlestown almost didn't have a band director. I don't know the gentleman's name, but one of the parents or a citizen stepped in literally at the last minute and devoted his services to the community, and fortunately they have a band director. So you talk about your heroes. Sometimes it's people that just do the little things and step forward at crunch time, and we're seeing crunch time budgetary-wise throughout the high schools, and it's going to be interesting to see what develops over the next decade.
Well, the hardest thing is, I guess, as a teacher, we're sort of caught between, rock and a hard spot. You can't win in this situation based on the public view of the, maybe of the almighty dollar.
Well, some reserves in there now for Littlestown. That was Eric Zentz on the carry. He picked up about 6 or 7. Yeah, you want to have all these extracurricular activities, but there is a cost involved, and the taxpayers, you've seen all these taxpayer revolts, if you will, or taxpayer movements, and some of the victims have been the students and the extracurricular activities. So it's just a question of priorities and values and what you want out of a high school education. Zentz picks up the first down, dragged down from behind by Ben Amsbacher.
One last thought on that, with the taxes. I really think, you're putting all the pressure on the homeowners, and maybe we have to revise our way we tax, whether it's everybody pays, personal income tax towards that. Education benefits everybody, and just say, I saw an interesting statistic last week. Back in the 50s and 60s, the percentage of people in the homes where they had children going to school was probably almost 3 out of 4 people. Today it's down about 1 out of every 4. So again, people a lot of times will look at education as not necessarily unimportant, but they don't have that same tied to it as they did 20, 30 years ago, and maybe that's again why we have to maybe change the tax structure, how we cover the cost of education.
And based on conversations I've had with Representative Stephen Maitland, I think he agrees with you. Excellent play, excellent defensive stop by Mike Smith on Casey Dell. So Littlestown loses 2 and is faced with a 2nd and 12.
He's coming!
Batterson got not much at all, stacked up by the interior of the line. Smith an uphold there. And talk about dilemma, I guess you had your biannual dilemma coaching against your daughter today.
Yeah,
how'd she do?
She won her singles match. I had a player by the name of Alyssa Warlach playing against her. This is the first-year varsity player. She's a sophomore. And I was really certainly proud of my daughter, how well she played. And but I think Alyssa also did everything she could in her match, and I'm happy for her, happy for Kristen. Kristen also won in the doubles, and my other daughter, Jenny, played also as a freshman in an exhibition doubles, and I guess I have a little bragging rights there because she lost.
Fair enough. Nice pickup. Brad Strasball caught the pass from Dylan at about the 1. So Dylan has shown some decent accuracy here. 7 minutes to go in the 3rd quarter. So Kristen at first singles for Gettysburg?
First singles, right, and plays with and first doubles.
Now, you talk about a conflict of interest. If your daughter had a weakness to her game, and I'm not saying she does, but that would be difficult perhaps to inform your player about any perceived weaknesses. I mean, that must be a kind of a difficult situation. On the one hand, you're certainly rooting for Alyssa, whom you coach, and on the other hand, it is your own flesh and blood. So how do you handle that situation?
Well, it's no different in, say, for example, scouting a basketball opponent. I have had the fortune to maybe go and catch a couple of Gettysburg matches already this year to watch my daughter, but also in the sense of scout. So I do scout them, and I have told my team, not only Kristen's weaknesses, the girl who she's playing, so and also the rest of the Gettysburg team. It didn't pay off tonight in terms of a win, but again, I think we made it pretty competitive. So Naturally, it's tough in that situation, but I do tell the girl pretty much what I know of Kristen's weaknesses, and if she could go out and defeat her knowing that, that's part of scouting.
Bolts 42, Canners 6. I'm not even sure who had that touchdown. We got kind of immersed in the conversation of the moment. It was a 1-yard plunge by one of the backs, might have been Zentz, but it was one of the backups. And I'm sure Coach Sterner's disappointed with the way this contest has unfolded, the early injuries, and now the relative ease with which Littlestown's able to march down the field and score.
Yeah, I apologize to that Littlestown runner. He's not going to get his due here on television. I'm here babbling about my family, and his family's probably wishing that his name was mentioned. So my apology to whoever scored there and their family.
Well, on occasion, it's my understanding that Adams Community Television is available on Channel 15 on the GS Communications dial, served by the Bonneville Head End, which serves New Oxford, Bonneville, and Littlestown. So maybe you're watching this game, and maybe you ought to tell GS Communications that they should expand their coverage throughout the county. Fumble, and Yingling kicked it away and now gets the recovery. So turnovers have plagued the Canners, 3 interceptions and now a lost fumble. Once again, Thunderbolts deep in Biglerville territory. 6:39 to play in the third quarter.
Well, if we get one positive thing, we'd say how nice the field here is at Biglerville and all the dryness. They've did a nice job of irrigating, overseeding, fertilizing, and get this home opener played on a beautiful turf. Congratulations to the staff here at Biglerville.
Excellent job. It is in beautiful condition. New quarterback now for the Canners. The handoff is to Eric Zentz. He squirms forward. Spangler finally drags him down, but that's Brian Christ, the holder on extra points, who's now in there at the quarterback position. Wholesale changes for the Bolts.
I have another disappointment. I'm going to have to check with the Booster Club president, Tom May. You know, all those good French fries of Biglerville. I don't think they're not down there this year with the French fry truck. So I think maybe we have to get on the my assistant basketball coach is also the Booster Club president.
Please get to the bottom of that one, because those fries were one of the outstanding features around the county. And, geez, talk about priorities. Let's get those fries back. Certainly, they at least paid their own way, I'm sure. Always a popular item. Wasn't it some local group that had the truck?
I believe it was the Orangeville Fire Company.
Well, fundraiser for them and well loved by the fans.
Unless that truck's being used at South Mountain Fair this weekend, maybe it's up there, getting ready up there.
Good point. We'll look for it later in the season. Just had a citizen stop by the booth, wanted to transact a little business, but we're not here for that purpose. This is an act of pure volunteerism, a labor of love. Believe it or not, our 6th year of high school football here on Adams Community Television, and it's been a joy. Paul Plank providing the lens work. Walmer split to the near side. Redding is buried. Oh, look out. I think the draw or screen might be in order here, because Littlestown is really teeing off on the pass rush. That time they sent everybody but the kitchen sink. Dell came storming in on a corner blitz, and he and Jason Miller converged and very nearly took Redding's head off, and he's down. So maybe we'll get a chance to see who the third string quarterback is for the Canners.
Well, the hardest thing in this situation for the Canners is Littlestown knows they have to pass the ball, and you know, they're just flying in, and it's pretty hard to hold them back, whether it's a blitz or whether it's, you know, just a straight rush. They know that they're not running the ball in this situation, being down 36 points.
Well, you need to think about the draw play once in a while, and that's why you need the draw and the screen in your arsenal to slow down that pass rush. So the third quarterback of the night is out there for Biglerville, Terry Sprankle. And I think I watched him last year at the midget level, did I not?
You're right there. He's a freshman out there, and that really, what a varsity debut right now for him.
So his heart's got to be pumping. He's a ninth grader. Last year he's out there playing against the midgets. Now he's in there. Talk about going from the frying pan into the fire. He is facing a Littlestown defense that is teeing off on the quarterback. So talk about a rite of passage. Not an easy spot for any youngster.
He's one of my basketball players too, and I want to, you know, make sure he's not goes down with injury here.
Another conflict of interest. You want to see him do well, but you don't want to see him get hurt. Sprankle hands off. That play went nowhere. Uphold with the carry, and Rucker with a stop.
Probably the hardest thing also for Terry is how many snaps he's taken in the past couple of weeks. You know, does he know even all the plays yet? So, you know, that's a big responsibility right now he has.
Quite a few ninth graders on the varsity this year.
Well, what's happened at Biglerville, we've done away with our freshman program. There is no actually freshman team. Coach Sterner has moved all the freshmen up to varsity, feeling that in the long run it's going to help us more. They'll play some JVs.
So the 7th and 8th graders play junior high?
Correct.
Okay. Crum downs it at the Littlestown 47. 1st and 10 with 2:30 to go in the third quarter.
I guess something like that with freshmen playing up, the hardest thing, I guess, is that in JV games, you know, it'd be okay if it was just freshmen and sophomores, but a lot of teams throw their juniors in there, and that could be debated whether a freshman handling a junior at that, you know, at that level is plus or minus.
Well, it's a real tough call. Most ninth graders, I would say, are not ready to play varsity football. They are just not physically developed. And you have your Chris Mays and your Rusty Spanglers, but I would think they would be the exceptions. Oh, inside handoff. Spinning away into the open field is Shane Mance. Finally dragged down by Eric Conrad. Spangler spun him around and just didn't bring him to the turf. So Mance with a huge gain. Littlestown's got to be close to 300 yards rushing here and probably close to 400 yards in total offense. Patterson and Eric Zentz are the running backs. And it's Patterson getting the call, Crum and company with a stop.
Jeff, you've probably seen Littlestown over the last few years quite often, I would assume. What do you see them doing different here under the new coach's system compared to maybe Shu's system? Any different offense, different defensive package?
Well, I see him probably 2 or 3 times a year, and I remarked in the first half that it looks to me like it's pretty much the same offense that Coach Shu ran. I'm not a coach, so I don't have the coaching jargon and lingo, but the play action, the men in motion, the misdirection, it looks like pretty much a George Shu-inspired scheme.
But didn't George pretty much look to run the ball more than pass, and is that pretty much what's gone on tonight?
Well, I think it might be personnel. I mean, when Coach Shu had a decent quarterback with a decent throwing touch, he was never afraid to put the ball up in the air. This quarterback tonight, Dylan, has had a pretty impressive arm. So it might be just a matter of personnel. But you're right, they're not afraid to mix it up. And the quarter mercifully comes to a close, 42-6. And they're getting ready to throw out the little footballs. So let's see what kind of arms these cheerleaders have. I think I caught one a couple years ago because I know my son has one of these in his collection. This might be one of the most exciting moments of the night for the Biglerville faithful. The traditional, oh, there's a home run out of the yard.
Some fan was knocked unconscious, but it went over the fence here.
Yeah. As one of the cheerleaders really aired it out.
She might be the 4th Street quarterback if Strykel goes down.
That's right. Coach Sterner, take note. So we are ready for 4th quarter action.
You were talking about my family earlier. How old is your family now?
Well, my daughter's 11. My son is 8. So they're starting to get involved with the AYSO soccer. Actually, I've been for some time, and I know you're familiar with that routine, and Little League baseball as well. So actually, my son will be eligible for Little League next year. He played in the 8-year-old league.
It's funny with Little League. My son, who is 10 years old now, just finished, just a couple weeks ago in Little League baseball. We ended up in 43 games. He had, along with winning the Little League championship team he was on, that was 19 games there, and then he were in 4 tournaments for a total of altogether for the summer 43 games. So I spent a lot of time on the diamond.
No question. The Mighty G's had an outstanding postseason. How many tournament victories?
I think we finished up 22-2. I think that might have been our record. And won 3 out of the 4 tournaments we were in.
Impressive, impressive. Didn't get a chance to catch the Mighty G's on tape this year, though. I think I did your game last year against the 11-year-olds, you were the 9-year-olds last year. It was against the 10-year-olds.
And the satisfaction we had, at first tournament we lost. We lost to Littlestown and to McSherrystown, and later on in the previous tournaments we beat them. So that was very fulfilling in terms of at least saying we didn't lose to somebody that beat us.
Vengeance can be so sweet. Well, hopefully you got some vacation time in there somewhere.
Yeah, it's been an enjoyable week up in the New England, Boston, Cape Cod area.
Eric Zentz, nowhere to go. Ben Amspacher in on the play along with Rusty Spangler.
How about yourself? Did you get a chance to get away?
Yeah, I had a week down in the beach in North Carolina and a few days up at Cape Cod myself earlier in August. Beautiful weather this year. Some years you go on vacation and you get lucky, and this was one of them.
Had a chance when I was on Boston to go to Old Fenway Park and saw a game with looking out at the Green Monster.
Wow, never been there, but I understand it's quite an experience. Unbalanced, no, not an unbalanced line. Littlestown is running the pass play to Zentz. Oh, nearly picked off by Mike Smith. So Chris tried to hook up with Zentz, and Smith read it all the way. It's 4th down. And Biglerville has another tough game next week against Gettysburg, and we'll be there with ACT.
It'll be interesting to see now. It'll be interesting to see how well Gettysburg does after having 2 very good years and 2 top quarterbacks over the last 2 years, and Leedy and Streeter. And
yeah, 2 years in a row in the district finals. That's a tough act to follow. Mance unable to catch up with it. So the Canners take over on downs. 9:42 to go in the quarter.
talking about taking a little side trips, we also went in August here to see one of the Little League World Series games. Saw Taiwan beat the Dominican Republic 1-0 in 7 innings, and saw Texas beat California.
The semis, huh? Or I guess they were, well, the U.S. final and the international final.
Correct.
Well, that must have been some game between Taiwan and the Dominican Republic.
Well, they sure didn't look like they were 12 years old, if you know what I mean.
Amsbacher has not had much running room all night. And that was Cliff Geis on the stop. Amsbacher with a yard. His stats are not going to be much to boast about tonight. The holes have closed quickly on the ground.
I guess at this point, Coach Sterner's probably hoping for just one sustained drive here, so he can finish on a positive note.
Oh, the screen! Justin Strevik with the interception. What a dream for a lineman. I talked about the screen, and you could tell it was coming because the blockers did not even get a piece. They just parted like the Red Sea. The defense came streaming in. Unfortunately for Reading, he didn't throw it over the heads of that second line of defense. He threw it right in the hands of Justin Strevik, and he just strolled into the end zone untouched. 4 interceptions.
Before I get the words out of sustained drive, I turned my head and the ball was in that defensive lineman's hand.
Justin Strevik with a lineman's dream, gift wrapped, placed in his hands, and he just had to walk it in from about 7 yards out. Yingling finally misses. 48-6, 8:48 to go. No, we mentioned other games around the area. Delone and New Oxford was touted as a battle royale.
I was coming in, or I guess it was around halftime, and I saw Bob Reed, the former principal at Bermudian. He said, and he was listening to the game on the radio. It was close to halftime, and New Oxford was up 13-0 over Delone.
The Colonials picked to do very well this year, and with a big-time passing game, it'll be interesting to see what kind of season they have. Delone lost heavily to graduation, but we talk about the proud programs and the excellent traditions. Coach Leedy has such a program at Gettysburg, and what I've been impressed with over the years is the way he's able to get his younger players, the sophomores and some of the juniors, little snippets of playing time, and it seems to pay off when they return in their junior and senior year. Chris May up to about the 29. Jason Miller on the stop.
And I'm wondering down the road here in terms of running the ball. May looked pretty quick taking that kickoff and going up there. I wonder if they would ever convert him into a running back.
Well, weren't he and Spangler also quarterbacks when they were ninth graders?
I believe you're right.
So you can't, that's one commodity you can't coach. You can't teach height. And sometimes having a quarterback of stature is just such a plus because you can see downfield, see who's open and who's not, and get the whole perspective. So it'll be interesting.
Well, the type of offense, that veer offense that Canners run, I guess maybe it's not as important to have that big quarterback because it's pretty much a read type thing. Either you're going to give it to the fullback or the halfback, and it still could roll out and pass. So a rolling quarterback like Donnie Asper last year was fine, and maybe these quarterbacks. So whether the tallness of a May would fit in, or Spangler. Maybe it's not necessary, but they certainly look, I like to see Spangler at fullback and May at halfback. That'd be two forces to reckon with there.
Yeah, that's about 400 pounds of raw energy. Well, it's Uphold and Amsbacher out of the eye. Oh, and the lineman jumped. So Brian Redding has been able to return. Richie Hernandez was mentioned in the fall preview as being a top returning rusher for Biglerville, but apparently he was not available for tonight's contest.
I'm not sure the entire situation there, but I believe it has to do possibly with academic ineligibility, and I don't know how long that'll last. There's some questions in the air on that, so probably more of a wait and see, week by week type thing.
Andy Amsbacher finally has running room. A nice job, got about 28, 29 yards. Finally, there was a hole, and I guess Andy Amsbacher showed this crowd why he's a starter. But that's the position where Hernandez would play, and he brings some experience there. So if Coach Sterner can get him back out there, that would certainly add to his depth. But Amsbacher finally had running room, and I think he had a chance to show his speed on that carry.
Well, here again, I think what you talked about Leedy at Gettysburg, and you probably have some younger players in now for Littlestown, getting an opportunity to get some varsity time.
Amsbacher again. Very shifty with his moves, and he's down to the 30 for another first down. So it's opening night, a chance to see what might work and what is not going to work at all. And Littlestown has not skipped a beat under Coach Chris Hull in his debut.
Do you have any idea what's the background? Where is Coach Hull? Is he a local guy down there? Is he moved in?
I thought he was an assistant under Coach Shue, but I may be wrong. And I tried to get Bryant Meckley here to join us. I was contemplating 3 in the booth like Monday Night Football, but I couldn't work out things with Brian. I missed his call several times, and he would have been able to shed some light on that situation. Spangler with a catch at 2nd and 2. Bryant, my colleague in my forays to Littlestown and former teammate on the Bullet squad and at Gettysburg College, and the principal at Littlestown High School. Whoa, Brian Redding. Meet Moses Yingling. And he looked up, and Yingling was draped all over him.
Looked like there was a missed assignment there because he came untouched from that left side.
He sure did. Amsbacher back in, replacing Eric Conrad. Clock running, under 7 minutes to go. It's 48-6. It's been all Littlestown here tonight. Opening drive, Biglerville went for it on 4th and 2, didn't make it. Littlestown took it in from 37 yards out. Amsbacher tied up, brought down by Steve Lockman. And I guess there would be some fans who might ask Coach Sterner why he didn't punt on that opening drive, but
I'm just going to ask you where they were on the, as I said, I didn't see that pretty much in that first half. Said they stopped them on their own 37.
Yeah.
So
it was a 2nd and 2 from your own 37 on the opening drive, and they went for it. I guess it's trying to set the tone for the season, let out all the stops, but it certainly set the tone for the game because they got in a 7-0 hole. And then there were other turnovers. Spangler makes the catch and fights for a first down. Nice job, Rusty Spangler.
pretty strong boy. That's what I was saying about maybe playing at that fullback position and take a couple guys to pull him down, you know, get that 4 or 5 yards maybe to carry, who knows.
Well, if you're not going to do that, put those guys in the backfield, then you have to find ways to get them the football. Chris May, the only touchdown of the night for Biglerville, and Spangler has had a couple catches here. So you got to go to your hooks, your little look-ins, square outs. Try to get these big fellas involved. Oh, May. Yeah, almost intercepted, underthrown by Redding. May nearly had his second score of the night. But one thing that has impressed me with Coach Sterner, he seems to have a good grasp of the game, and I mentioned this in the first half. His game plan is well conceived. He understands his personnel, and I think he's a coach who can make adjustments, and maybe he'll see some of these same things we're talking about, and you'll see some changes in the weeks ahead.
You know, I think, like you were mentioning about that opening drive and going for it, I think Rich last year, and when they finished the season strong, those 4 games, he wasn't afraid to take a risk and a chance, and he did go for some of those in those situations and came up with the big play, and he felt let his team try it maybe early, and it backfired this time.
Chris May with a catch in traffic. Shane Mance, nice stop. So these reserves from Littlestown are enjoying themselves now. Under 5 minutes to go in the quarter.
2 yards in on the play. We have 3rd down about 7 yards to go.
Redding rolls. He's hit as he throws. Nice shoe top grab by Spangler. And he's going to be close to 1st down yardage. Oh, Littlestown wants it called incomplete. They're not satisfied with a 42-point lead. They don't get the call, but frankly, I think it was the right call by the officials.
Yeah.
Looks like he made a nice catch.
That was a very nice catch on a low ball. You know, Redding, as he's got a little bit of time here, is starting to pick out his receivers, and he really, as he drops back, is able to look across the entire field and even pick out a secondary receiver.
Yeah, I mean, despite the interceptions, he has shown pretty nice touch. Amsbacher nearly lost the football, but he picked up the 1st down. So it's 1st and goal for the Canners. First half, as I mentioned, the pass protection was excellent. So there are certain pluses that Coach Sterner can look to and try to build on them. But defensively, they got to find a way to stop the run, because it's just going to get worse from here. I mean, Gettysburg has some outstanding offensive ball carriers. Conrad down to about the 1. And I'm sure Scotland's going to have a stable of thoroughbreds. Bermudian is typical of football power, so Biglerville, I think offensively there have been a few bright spots, obviously not a whole lot.
I'm sure this has been a disappointment because we had 2 good scrimmages, one against York Catholic, one against Big Spring, and I think again they were really looking forward to this opener, and they just have to, I guess, regroup here a little bit and come back.
Redding hands to Crum, and Crum is in. So the Canners get their 2nd touchdown, 2-yard run by John Crum with 2:39 to play in the contest. Nothing doing on the 2-point conversion attempt by Conrad. Well, we talked a bit about the Canners at Gettysburg, and it's my understanding that's going to be the last neighborhood brawl between these 2 arch rivals. Sad to see that go.
Well, I think that's really a bad sign of maybe of the times. You have your Adams County teams. I think you should play. I don't care if it's a quad A school against a double A school. I felt the same thing in basketball. That's occurred to us in basketball also, not playing Gettysburg, even if it's just one time. I think, you need to keep these local schools together. You really drift apart in terms of knowing people and personnel and everything else. And we've...
Well, if everybody's so worried about the budget, why not play a school that's only 7 miles away?
We've got so hung up on the power ratings and, I guess, making districts instead of worrying about maybe winning your league and local rivalries. I think if you win, you're going to get into districts anyway. I know there were a couple of years where Gettysburg, especially in football, probably that might have hurt them. And I can sort of understand, but
Dell on the return. Yeah, you're right, Coach Jack. There's a great pressure to win, and I guess Gettysburg's benefited by the move to the mid-pen, but there are those purists that still fondly recall the days of the Blue Mountain League.
And some call that progress.
Sheesh. 1st and 10, Bolts at their own 44, 2:14 and counting to go in the game. Third string quarterback in there now for Littlestown. Sense on the carry. That's Doug Widener handing off. We are Adams Community Television, Channel 25 on your Salmons dial. Local sports in your living room every Monday night. The perfect prelude to Al, Frank, and Dan. David Kershesky split to the near side, and a running play. Looks like Steve Lockman picked up the first down. So they're not going to worry about stopping the clock to move the chains. They'll just let it keep going. Oh, the weather held pretty nicely. I thought it was going to get a little cooler. That wind held off for the most part, so a very pleasant evening for football.
I guess they're calling for a pretty nice weekend here, and last big weekend of the summer. I'm leaving tomorrow and going up to the U.S. Open in New York.
Flushing Meadow, enjoy. Any idea which matches you'll be seeing?
I have no idea. I don't think there'll be any. I'm not sure if there'll be any of the name players or not, but I guess there might be a good chance that Sampras might play. I'll be seeing the Sunday matches. If they play, whoever played today, I think we'll see the ones on Sunday.
Well, safe travels to you, Coach Eck. We certainly enjoyed having you here in the booth with us the second half. Thanks for stopping by.
Thanks again, Jeff. Sorry I only could be here with you for half. And again, if you're ever up this way and you need somebody, please don't be afraid to call again.
Shyness has never been one of my attributes. Thank you, Coach. I will be calling you again. So that's going to wrap it up here from Musselman Stadium in Biglerville. Littlestown will not get off another play, and this one is in the books. Littlestown 48, Biglerville 12. For Paul Plank and Coach Joe Yack, this is Jeff Cook saying until next Monday night, sports fans, Biglerville at Gettysburg. See you then. Good night.